I got it for 3 reasons. Right time, right place, and right
Is
God.
that fake chest hair?
Yes, it is fake chest hair. I did it so you could see the Star of David a little better.
That's really funny.
This is where the troops go in the back right there.
We all know mental health is a serious problem, and there's ample reasons to justify why your mental health may not be okay. You're going through divorce, financially you're not doing all right, can't afford a home, you're starving, maybe you're physically destitute. But if you're willing to be down in the dumps mentally, you have to at least acknowledge the things that are going okay in your life. Like, for example, we have Zins, we have Corona. We're filming on February 28th, so we're going to war with Iran. So now you have an ability to go overseas and fight for certain people. And also today, another great reason to be happy is we have a new episode of 4 Years a Slave with a new and special, interesting guest who I didn't have the chance to shake his hand in the first minutes of meeting him, but please welcome Joshua Mach of the JMach podcast to the show. I'm glad to finally have and see you and meet you in person.
Likewise, brother. Thanks for having me.
So, Josh, how are you doing today, just in general?
Right off the bat, I'll tell you the truth, though. It's been a hard morning. I've been in a great mind space, but then with my kids, I haven't been showing up the way that I want to. I've been really short-tempered and really short-fused today, and I'm not sure why, and it's bothering me. So I'm here to let things out and become better today.
You know, you almost kind of preempted my next question because I was going to steal your line. I was going to be like, how are you really doing today?
See,
I guess that's really how you're doing.
I thought you were going to, and I was going to let it happen. And then I realized, how can I preach not telling the truth on the first go if I'm not going to be willing to do it myself?
Okay. I like it. Leading by example, as we would say.
Absolutely.
So I did some homework on you, but even with some of the episodes that I watched, I still left a little vague as to, like, well, I know who you are, but like in terms of your career. But to anybody who doesn't know that watches my show, who is Joshua Mach? Like, who is JMach?
Yeah, I'm a stay-at-home dad. I have 4 beautiful kids. My youngest 2 are 2 and 5 years old. Those are the handfuls right now. I'm a happily married man and just an entrepreneur who is passionate about the cause I'm representing.
What is that cause that you represent?
I combat veteran and first responder suicide, one story, one conversation at a time, while reminding the community that they're not alone. We all have our struggles.
Now, I do have to ask, do they have a skill bridge program for being a stay-at-home dad? Because I know a lot of people would be very I know you definitely piqued our eyes when you mentioned that the first night.
Just find a wife that supports you, or a significant other that's going to support you and allow you to chase your adventures while she's willing to work and pick up the slack.
Pull out the right and the rain, gentlemen. Jot it down, please. So, what is your career exactly like? Because obviously you were in the Marines from, what I know, but what was the career like of Joshua Mach before the JMach podcast, before being involved in veteran suicide? What was your career like?
A veteran heading towards suicide. I got lost, man. I lost 70 pounds in 6 months just to enlist into the Marine Corps, to get out and pick that weight back up and put it right back on me and carry it then tenfold, right?
Well, okay.
When I got... You want me to keep going, or you want to ask questions?
No, if I have them, I'll think them as we go.
When I got out of the Marine Corps, well, first of all, the Marine Corps instilled all that discipline, that it gave me that motivation, self-pride, self-worth, everything I lacked as a child.
So I assume that's probably it, but like, what did you go in, because 70 pounds in 6 months, it's obviously an impressive feature, and clearly you had the will to do it because there's something attracting you to do that. So what exactly made the Marines the choice? Like why the Marines? What was pushing you to go to that great length?
I'll call myself a humble cocky, all right? And deep down...
A humble cocky.
Yeah, I like to be humble. I don't like to show the cocky, arrogant, because I feel like that's the asshole side.
Yeah.
So I like to be humble. And I lost my train of thought. Can you bring up that question again?
No, you're fine. So what made you ultimately join the Marines? Why the Marines specifically?
You had to be the best of the best, brother.
Mm-hmm.
We have the sexiest uniforms, all of that cheesy cliche stuff. But I just always looked up to the Marine Corps. I always wanted to be in the Marines. They treated you differently even before you were in.
Yeah.
The recruiters were different. The standards were different. And you really noticed that.
Yes.
Or at least I did. I picked up on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like it was going to be the most challenging branch to join.
You know what I love about that is you never hear that for like any other branch at all, because I've heard from when I was on a naval ship, I've heard some people say when I asked them why they joined the Navy, one of them said, well, it was the easiest branch and it was just the one that I could fit into the most. You never hear anything resembling that with the Marines. It's always like we want to strive to be like them, or we're attracted to whatever it is that they're offering and we want to change, to be a part of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, the few, the proud,
Mm-hmm. So I guess given, it sounds like you weren't, I mean, you weren't like a complete fat body, were you, before you went in? Or like, how was life before you went into the Marines?
Oh, I was fat, depressed, like low self-worth, low self-esteem, all of that.
All right, narrows it down.
Yeah, dude. I was lost before I got in the Marine Corps for sure. I thought I had it all figured out. I was drinking heavy already.
Mm-hmm.
And then just going into the Marine Corps. As you sign that dotted line, you become a contractual alcoholic, I like to say. It doesn't matter the branch, doesn't matter if you drank before you signed on that dotted line.
Yep.
At some point in the fleet, they're going to get you.
Oh, yeah.
So then when I got out of the Marine Corps, dude, I was in good shape, got into a little accident, crashed a dirt bike, had shoulder surgery, and I just slid down from there. I fell into that isolation that we all are capable of being succumbed to.
And this was after you got out, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
After I got out of the Marine Corps, and it just went downhill.
So when were you in the Marines? What years?
I was
were you
in 2013 to 2017.
Okay, so that's not too far from me then.
Not at all.
What was your MOS? What did you do?
I was a 1371, which is a combat engineer. I got to play with explosives.
Okay. Much respect to you. I had a small group of engineers attached to technically to our weapons company, but I got along really good with them, so I like you guys.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thankfully, I didn't have any real world experiences. Everything was just in the field for me, or training in the schoolhouse and that.
Okay.
I used to struggle. I say that now. That's why let me start over.
Yeah.
I struggled for a long time. Like I said, when I got out of the Marine Corps, I felt lost. I felt like I failed my mission because I signed up to go serve in combat, but
Yes.
I never got the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
I never got deployed. So when I got out willingly, it then started to eat away at me, where I felt like I failed my mission. Like, what was I doing?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I picked up all that weight again, all that insecurity, all those self-doubts and problems and the isolation, up until I was able to start shedding it all over again. And I found my new purpose and new calling, and that is to combat veteran first responder suicide.
And I love that you bring that up, kind of the why, because I think as weird as it may sound, and you probably would know this more than I would, but I feel like that's incredibly common of a reason why, because you look at like our generation of Marines, it's like, because we were in the late GWAT era where there is stuff going on, but not really. So you have a lot of people that feel like, was my career even, like, I don't want to say they feel like it was a waste, but it was like, what was I there for? Like, what was I doing? Did that run through your mind at all? Or was that one of the questions that popped up?
I don't feel like my time in was a waste. I just feel like I didn't complete what I signed up for.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like I didn't complete what I signed up for. But I built all that up in my head, because especially if you get around the wrong group of veterans, even if they're active duty still, or just civilians, right? They ask you when they find out that you were in the military, sometimes their next question is like, oh, did you kill somebody?
Oh, yeah.
Where'd you go? What'd you do? And I used to feel like if I told them no, I would just watch the excitement fade away from them, and now I became boring.
Almost like you're letting them down in a way.
Yeah, but I believe now that I just built that up in my own head. Yeah, people are like that still, but that's their issue to deal with, not mine. I don't need to carry that anymore.
Yeah, it's like you don't need to, I don't want to butcher this too wrong, but it's like you don't need to put on a facade, or like, you don't have to earn, you don't need like that external validation from them to still, like, I guess respect yourself would be the way. I'm kind of articulating it off the top of my head, but maybe that might.
Like to get their approval, so then I felt good about myself.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I used to chase that a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure I still do in certain aspects of my life, but I've been working diligently on just being self-sufficient.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to butcher this too, but like codependent on myself instead of others.
Yeah. Do you, because a lot of people will always, they still have that opinion, like, well, I didn't really serve if I didn't, go overseas, or if I didn't actually get on the front lines of, X conflict or whatever. But since you've been out a little longer, you've obviously had some maturity, some life, things happen, milestones. When you look back on that line of thinking, do you still think that's true? Do you think there's validity to it, or what is your opinion of it now that you've been able to look back and dwell on that?
So I was telling you earlier before we started to record that I went to the Wounded Warrior Project storytelling class last week.
Yeah.
One of the coaches and instructors in that class, he was telling us one of his stories and struggles that he was dealing with. And then one of his buddies finally grabbed him by the collar and said, "Bro, do you not understand? You don't have to carry that pain. God saved you that day. God freed you of that pain," right? So me thinking that I wanted combat experience, I would have got it, and I would have had to come home and carry that weight of like what I did or didn't do over there, who I saw or didn't see get blown up, or who I had to kill or not kill or whatever. And I think I wanted that shit. I mean, don't get me wrong. I was 100 and still 110% willing to do that if my name and time was called.
Yeah.
I signed up to do it. I got saved. I got blessed. I got lucky. It wasn't my time to go do that. My purpose for joining the Marine Corps wasn't to fight the war overseas. It was to fight the war we face once we get back home. It's everything I'm doing, and you're helping me right here, right now. You're helping save myself too. So thank you for allowing me a space to come and share my story and let myself free of some things.
I don't mean to brag, but I am a lifesaver, guys. Don't want to, self-indulge, but
Absolutely.
no, yeah. I mean, obviously, I assume talking about it with other. Were you? Because some of the guys that I've talked with who are from older, I don't want to say older generations per se, but I guess that's what they are. They say just go to therapy or just talk about it with people. Just get it off your chest. You don't need to, whatever it be, that you're dealing with. If it's something suicidal or just whatever traumatic stuff you went through. So, baseline therapy. Do you recommend that? Do you think it's good, or was that something you went through? Or
I think it's a start. I think it's a start. I don't think it's wrong.
Who was called?
Absolutely. See, this is why the host of the show should put his camera on Do Not Disturb.
Yeah.
However, he's the host.
Yeah.
What a lifesaver. I was breaking my heart down to you, and you got interrupted by a phone call.
Well, look, God sends angels, but he never said the angels would be competent at what they do. He never said the angels would get the gun up on time, guys. All right, look, I'm trying my hardest.
That could also be the devil trying to interfere. Did you answer it? No, you silenced it.
Holy crap, I did not think about that. Spiritual warfare, guys. This is actually, you know what? That was probably Iran right now, because right now with the war going on, they recognize what we're doing. We're trying to save people's lives. We're trying to better the United States, and they're waging psychological warfare.
Absolutely.
With, terrible way to make a joke with that one. But so what exactly were because from what it sounds like, maybe I assume was probably a troubled childhood or just maybe a lost childhood. You go through the Marines.
I was going to say, wait. Yeah, because I want to answer your question, the previous one.
Oh, go back to it, please.
Because you were asking me about therapy. Do I think that's a great, necessarily? Yeah. So I believe that therapy is not a one-size-fits-all, right? So talk therapy is a modality. Equine therapy, where you're with horses. Art is therapeutic if you just sit down and draw or color or make something, all the way up to plant ceremonies and medicine. Like ayahuasca changed me. A psychedelic assisted therapy saved me this past Veterans Day.
Okay.
So, yes, please start talking. Please, whether you're sharing with yourself, you're journaling, you're just video documenting it, you don't have to share it with anybody else. Get it out of here. Put it on the paper. Put it on digital. Just get it out so you can start thinking more clearly.
Mm-hmm.
And also, if you're going to take medicine, like for your mental health, I definitely believe you need to be going to therapy or doing something else, because in my mind, taking medicine is just like putting Neosporin on a wound. You still need a Band-Aid. You still need to keep it clean and safe and protected.
Yeah.
So you can't have one without the other.
It's like habits, it needs not intensity, but it just needs some type of constant, attention to it, I guess you would say.
For sure. You can't take one, and medicine's not going to heal you.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to help you. But if you're not doing any work, you're just going to stay in that zone. I was on medication for years through the VA, and I feel like it did nothing but make me worse. I believe it probably kept me alive when it needed to.
Yeah.
But it wasn't helping.
Like it's treating the symptoms, but not the actual branch of whatever it is that's making you feel that way.
Yeah. But you also got to think they're prescribing you multiple medications at a time. How are those all interacting with one another? And what else is it causing to go wrong with me now?
Yes. Yeah, for those who don't know, we're with JMach's daughter, by the way. So she's sleeping. That's the reason why I haven't been yelling or getting as intense as much, because I want to make sure she sleeps okay and gets all 8 hours in the middle of the day.
I feel like that was a little shade, all right, but yes, my
I didn't know. I
2-year-old
didn't.
needs
No,
a
I didn't mean
nap.
to throw it like shade. But people, I'm just saying, if people logically follow this, they're going to be like, wait a minute. So if she's sleeping right now, then are they filming this at like midnight or 3 a.m.?
No, she'll still go to sleep around 7, 8 o'clock at night
Mm-hmm.
and sleep pretty well.
Okay.
But this is also a sign to you that don't allow any excuse you have, whether it's kids, work. Well, okay, you obviously got to work to provide things, right?
Yes.
But just because you have kids doesn't mean you can't do things. I'm out here preaching, and I have my 2-year-old with me. Not only am I still being a professional, but I'm showing her how to show up for others at the same time.
Yeah. With one thing I did want to like funnily go back to funnily, is that even a word? I feel like
It
I just
is
made
today.
that up. Okay, it is today. But I did want to make like some type of joke because I thought it was funny when you mentioned ayahuasca. But one thing I have heard is some people say that it makes them very forgiving of people when after when they get done and just process the experience. But what was ayahuasca like?
Oh man, do you want me to give you like a Spark Notes version of it, or just like a one-liner?
Oh, go the whole thing. Whatever you feel. You know, give the one-liner and then give the spark notes. Let's go both of them.
It was probably one of the greatest experiences of my life that was absolutely miserable at the same time. It's just like that love-hate relationship that I have with the military.
Mm-hmm.
It sucked while you're going through it, but you love it in hindsight. Like some of the shitty parts were the fun parts too.
Whoa. Okay.
All right, so the first night on ayahuasca, I hated it.
Yeah.
It was dark. I saw nothing. I was just purging. Purging can be puking, pooping, screaming, crying, anger, shaking. It looks differently for everybody, but you're usually doing a mixture of the two.
So your body's literally, with the word purge, it's like just cleansing itself of whatever.
100%, brother.
What in the world? Yeah, so what did you just pop a mushroom in and then
No.
just sit around?
So
or how did did you prepare for this?
So ayahuasca is like a leaf and a root blended together into like a liquid substance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the first day it was terrible. I hated it. I was puking. I was uncomfortable. It was dark, like I said. I woke up hearing everybody outside laugh, smoking and joking. They were all having a great time.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the fuck? Now I hate you and you and you and you.
Yeah.
Right? Like, how am I the only one that was miserable?
Yeah.
in
How
that?
dare you have a fun time without me?
Yes. So after ceremony, we have a quick breakfast, and then we go into an integration circle where we sit down and share our journey from the night prior.
Okay.
In that integration circle, it validated I was the only one that had a bad time. Everybody else had a good time. However, it instantly started to change my mindset and my brainwaves, right? So psychedelic assisted therapy does neuroplasticity and helps create new neural pathways in your brain and restore old ones, fix old ones, right?
Okay.
While I was hearing everybody, they all had a bad time too. They were all purging in their own way,
Yeah.
but they had a good visions or they just enjoyed their night.
Yeah. Like there was some good light at the end of the tunnel for them.
Yeah, for them. It was just miserable for me. But that instantly made me think that like, holy cow, these people can have a bad time but still have a great time, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it made me recognize that, oh man, maybe my wife is right. And in a lack of better words, I am the cancer in my own life. Whether I'm only remembering the negative parts of the stories of my childhood or what she didn't do for me or what I don't have. I was
Yeah.
only envisioning the negative.
Mhm.
Well, I just watched all these people have a negative experience but find the positivity in it.
Okay.
That went into the second night, and it was the best night for me. And again, it was the complete opposite. I had an opposite experience as everybody else. I had a great time. Everybody else was miserable.
Yeah.
I took the medicine. I was so anxious and excited. I went outside. I found myself staring at the moon. I howled at the moon 3 times as loud as I could.
Whoa.
I beat on my chest. I was like so prideful, and I was just genuinely happy.
You went into like full hippie mode, but on like steroids or something like that.
I feel I channeled my inner masculinity. I became one with the powers of being a man again and showing up with positive masculinity, where I keep myself reserved and calm a lot because as a child, I was always high energy and rambunctious. And I was stronger than I knew, and
Yeah.
it always caused problems. So I just learned how to stay calm. Exteriorly, I look calm. Interiorly, I'm not.
Yeah.
Right? So at this moment, I chose to let it all out.
Mm-hmm.
During that night, I found the perfect algorithm, I call it, for my purge,
Okay.
where I was receptive and open. I allowed things to flow to me. And as I was purging, the dude came up and played the drums in front of me. I was on all four, just purging, letting it all out.
Mhm.
I felt something work its way up, and it just poured out of my mouth, brother, right into this bucket. I now call it was my depression, or my depression cloud. Because even when I looked into the bucket, it was a top layer of something holding everything underneath it. Nothing could come out.
Wow.
And as soon as I laid back on my mat, I took a deep breath because it was exhausting. Like, it was a lot of work doing all that. I instantly felt 30 pounds lighter on my chest, my neck, my shoulders. I mentioned that dirt bike accident. I have a cadaver tendon or ligament in here.
Yeah.
And I felt my shoulders shift into place where I no longer have like these knots in my neck 2 to 3 times a week like I haven't had it since November.
It's almost like the stress was physically present in a way, and it just like just gone.
Yeah, like they say your body stores your trauma. I had all my trauma stored in me, and I purged out. So before I left, it felt like it was going to take an act of God to take a dish out of my sink, pivot, and put it into my dishwasher.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like I was failing as a parent. I was only keeping these kids alive. I wasn't adding to their life experience. I was just allowing them to live another day.
Mm-hmm.
I took this medicine, and all that lifted off me. Now the colors actually color again outside. Like, it's bright outside all the time. I'm just genuinely happier. I still have my struggles and challenging thoughts, but they don't consume me and hold me down as much as they did. Like, literally, I felt weighted down.
Mm-hmm.
And when I purged it out, I felt relieved. And you know when you want to cry, but you're being a man, and so you hold it in, but how heavy your cheeks get, all that melted away. And in that moment, I could breathe out of both nostrils. It was perfect.
What in the world? Is an ayahuasca trip? Is this the next boys trip? Was this in Costa Rica or like
No,
Panama,
that's
or
here in Tucson, Arizona.
Are you kidding me?
Also, if you're a veteran and you're interested in this, check out the Aya Mission. That's the nonprofit that I went to. It's founded by a 2-time Purple Heart recipient from Army veteran, and he works with the church out in Tucson, Arizona, where we get to go out there and we do a 3-night ceremony.
Well, okay.
It's beneficial, dude.
I will put the link in the description because I may have to check this out. This sounds intense.
March 1st, they actually open up their registry for their next ceremony, which is going to be around Memorial Day weekend.
Okay.
So if you truly are interested, definitely check them out, theayamission.org.
Now, I noticed one of the things you mentioned was I don't want to get it wrong here, but you said something about how you would the way that you would view the world, or a lot of things. It's like, oh, I didn't look at the positive effects of stuff. I would always just be kind of a negative Nancy or a Debbie Downer about every individual thing that would happen. But I hear this a lot, like, and you would probably know too, but, you know, in almost every self-help circle or anyone who tries to, you know, get people on a right path, you know, you always hear, try not to look at the negative. Don't have the missing tile syndrome or anything like that. Just try to have more gratitude. Do you think, you know, 'cause it sounds like, you know, you cured that completely with the ayahuasca, but just as a general mental health tool, do you think that if people would do that, that would solve a lot of their problems?
Yeah, for sure, dude. What we focus on is what we manifest and what grows in us, right? If we're always looking for the negative, of course, we're going to find the negative.
Clearly.
If we're waiting for that other shoe to drop, that shoe's going to drop. I wouldn't say it cured me 100%. I still have challenges and things that I need to work through, but it allowed me to be grateful waking up. Before this, I was trying my hardest to be a grateful person. I would wake up and force myself to think grateful things. And literally, I mean force. Because I woke up like, oh, I'm going to yell at my wife now. Oh, like what am I going to be angry about?
Well,
you know,
who said yelling at your wife is a bad thing, guys? I mean,
I do. I don't think, I know you're joking, but that's not the man I want to be. That's not who I want to show up for. I don't want my girls to see their dad yelling at his wife or their mom every day and them thinking it's okay. Like, that's justified. I want to be a man that I will be okay with my daughters dating and marrying. Yeah.
I assume you believe, because I was just about to ask you that, because like, I'm not a parent, but I do have some of my friends, they're starting to have kids. You know, some of them are girls. I assume you think it's true, but do you think it's true that ultimately they'll probably start dating guys that probably resemble you or resemble your actions or habits and stuff like that? Or that's who they'll be looking into?
I believe it. Because, like, you can catch on, like, how your kids are acting and how it resembles either you or your spouse.
Mm-hmm.
So I 100% see it. And I totally married my mom, and I don't mean that in a...
No, I know.
Have you ever
what
heard
mean.
that saying? Like, you end up marrying your mom?
Yeah, I've heard it.
Make sure you heal from your childhood traumas is all I'm saying before you get married.
There's actually...
I love you, Mom.
You might be interested in this, but there's an actual they've done a science study on it that people are actually for women when they're looking into guys, and then when they're looking into women, there's an actual study that shows that they tend to be more attracted to people that look like their father or their mother. And I think the reason is because if they have a similar facial structure, we associate that with security or the comfort of knowing what our parents are, so it's just familiar with us. So there actually is science behind it to show that we do. That's who we tend to marry.
No, for sure. It's absolutely right. It's what we're accustomed to. It's what we know. It's what makes us feel safe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this one, my youngest,
yeah,
I'm torn. I don't think she's going to like men with beards.
Okay.
Why? Because like when I go to give her a kiss or something, she's like, "Dad, stop, you're tickling me." And she's talking about my facial hair.
Yeah.
So I think she could be the opposite, right? Like my dad always had a beard. Fuck that.
Yeah.
I also don't. We end up marrying off of our subconscious. We end up doing everything in life off of our subconscious thoughts and beliefs,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because actively, I'm like, there's no way in hell I'm going to marry anyone like my mom. So I went for who I thought wasn't like her, like somebody in a different career field and pathways. But their emotions, the way they treat me and things like that, that's where it's very similar to like my childhood or like
Yes.
my mom and things like that.
That's what we don't notice and what kind of creeps its way in, as you'd say.
Yeah, there's also, I believe, scientific data that states that you are going to date and or marry someone that is equally as messed up as you. Like if you're traumatized, you're going to find somebody traumatized. Trauma attracts.
Trauma attracts.
Hurt people hurt people.
That is true. Where I'm going to completely pivot here because I had a completely different thought. But when you were in the Marines, where ultimately did you go? Like where were you stationed?
Camp
deployed
Pendleton.
anywhere? Oh, we were out here in Cali.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I loved it out there, man. That spoiled me. I moved from Illinois to California. That weather spoiled me, and now I live here in like fucking Arizona.
Can I ask this because I've yet to get many coherent answers on this, but I've met more people from the state of Illinois that live in Arizona than I have people who are actually from Arizona. Is there a reason for that? Like why people in Illinois just love this state?
Yeah, there's no snow here.
Yeah, but there's also no snow in a lot of other states. Well, maybe Florida, Georgia. Well, I mean, yeah, Arizona, I guess, would be the main one.
Yeah, Arizona, I don't know, man. Arizona's a melting pot for everybody. There's very few Arizonians in Arizona, I feel. Like
no, I agree with you. That's why I asked.
My wife and I, we went to a Chicago Bears game versus the Cardinals, and it was, you would have thought it was a Bears home game.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah, dude. Illinois, I don't know. I don't know why Arizona is the spot. Probably because we just heard great things about it growing up,
Uh-huh.
and it was always sunny here.
Mhm.
There is no, I'm sure there might be, but there's no place that I've been outside of Arizona that is quite like this,
Yeah.
where you get like 3 months that are absolutely terrible that you hate,
Mhm.
and then the rest is decent.
No, yeah, because even in the desert climate, because I'm in New Mexico now, and I thought it was going to be similar to this, but high desert is its own. Like, it's fucking freezing over there. Like, it's insane. The winters are brutal out there, and then you get maybe like a month of the Arizona desert, and then it's just right back into regular seasons. I'm like, there's nothing. Yeah, Arizona is its own beast because there's not really another desert state,
Yeah.
I guess you would say.
I think Arizona is just like being built, right? Like it's a popular city, or well, it's a state,
yeah.
but Phoenix is the popular city, and it's becoming more well known and more attractive, and it's the snowbird season. That's why.
Yeah.
And then like once you hit a certain age or you retire, people don't want to have to live and shovel snow anymore.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Plus, I've heard because Chicago's on, I forget the name of the Great Lake that's up there, but I've heard that when the winters come over there, it's just it's more of like a disrespectful cold, and the wind chill is just brutal. So anybody who lives there, like, yeah, I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah, and then as our bodies age, it doesn't matter if you're like a 25-year-old out of the military or you're a 75-year-old retired individual,
Mm-hmm.
but the heat's better for your bones and your body.
That is true.
So that's why a lot of people do tend to move here,
Mhm.
because it's a dry heat.
Do you want a useless fact for you that may never apply
Let's
again?
go.
All right. So back in the day, have you ever been to the Mystery Castle? Or have you ever heard of that here? Well, so it used to be a thing where people, mostly in the Pacific Northwest, whenever they would get diagnosed with something like tuberculosis in the late 1800s, a lot of people, one of the prescriptions doctors would prescribe to them is to move to Arizona or move to the desert, because humidity is terrible for a lot of diseases like that. So they would move out here to states, either in California or in Arizona, because it would basically help their chances of beating the disease. And a lot of people would live on because of, they're in a dry climate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah. So complete pivot then, but so when you were in California, I assume, obviously because you're right next to Vegas, Arizona, but did you travel? Like, what was the travel like, or deployments or anything like that?
Oh, deployments. I only went to Oman. Don't even call it a deployment. I was there for less than a month.
I mean, you still got to go somewhere, though.
It was pretty cool. I stayed in the nicest hotel I've stayed in to this day while I was out there.
Okay.
We held security for, that the ship that's cruising around with 30-day war supply out there.
Mhm.
They had to do their PCMs, PCPs, check their vehicles and maintenance at all. Well, it was like a fun day for them because they got to go to the hotel and swim. And while we were like holding security for them, it was a great experience. I had a camel burger in the hotel.
A camel burger.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was good.
Please
it was just seasoned.
I want to. I don't know why, but I want to get like a Chef Ramsay hat. I want to know all the details of this burger. Like, are we talking sesame seed finished bun? How juicy was the burger? Like, what was this made of?
Man,
here?
you are trusting my memory way more than I do. Yeah.
Yeah.
All I remember from the burger was that it was good. I'll try it again.
Yeah.
But it was just super seasony. They just added a lot of seasonings on
like
it.
peppers or whatever other stuff.
Whatever it was over there for sure.
Okay.
And I held security for all the officers and that in the suite for a little bit, and then I went back out with the boys.
Okay. So you just security, and then just saw around, like just basically looked around, and that was it.
Yeah, dude.
Okay.
Oman is beautiful. They have like 6-lane highways that maybe not 6 lanes, four-lane highways that just dead end into a sand dune, and then it's like super nice. They got oil money over there, but they're developing. From what I remember, they want it to be like the next version of Dubai.
Okay. Yeah. So it's got potential, but it's a work in progress, basically.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a similar thing because when I was in, because I did get to go to Dubai at one point, and it is like as you imagine, it is well built up, and a lot of the stuff there is still cheap. Like if you go buy food or go get taxis or whatnot, because they're saying there's just so much room to grow over here. Not everybody's maximized on it.
Okay.
So when you were in Oman, was this like a MEU you were doing, or what exactly was it?
No, we just flew out. It was, so we got cut from our deployment. The infantry unit 17 we were attached to, they wanted to take all of their guys, so they cut our numbers down.
Oh, okay.
So this was like, oops, we're sorry, here's something to do. So we went over there and we just held security for just under a month on the pier. I don't know if this is right, but I want to say the Baltic Sea. I'm probably wrong. But
I'm a nerd. I should know this, but yeah, but nonetheless, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So it was you were just. God, now I'm blanking out. This looks terrible.
Yeah, no. We were on the pier holding security. We built our checkpoints up, the serpentine, all that. We had like nothing major happen.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted us to go do like a mounted patrol, but then we weren't allowed to take any rounds. So our lieutenant's like, we're not going on that. That's the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
So yeah, we didn't really do much. Omani Royal Police are driving around in the rocks, fucking MRAP 7-ton, just with the 50 cal on top. So we would have done nothing if they chose to turn on us, but
yeah,
it was still a great experience.
So what ultimately did lead you to get out, or why did you not want to stay in?
Yes, I was young, dumb, full of cum, and I got married while I was in the Marine Corps. I tried to hide that from my family for over 7 years plus. The marriage didn't even last a year.
I mean, that's pretty impressive, though. I think you
they
almost
knew.
7 years.
They knew. I just denied and lied about it, right? And then I finally chose to tell them just a couple years ago because it was like eating away at me.
Yeah.
I was like embarrassed. I was ashamed. I wanted to hide from it. Like I hid something that didn't even work out. You know, I remember my mom told me, she's like, if you got married, I'd be so disappointed. And that triggered the time that she told me as a child that she was disappointed in me. And I was like, be mad at me. Don't be disappointed at me.
Yeah.
Like disappointment is like a hurt to the core.
Yeah.
And I think that caused me to hide. It's 110% my fault. I'm not blaming my parents or anybody else but me, right? I chose to do that. But I was embarrassed by it. I allowed that to mess with me to the point where I couldn't separate my work life from my home life, and it was just a tornado everywhere. Home sucked, work started to suck, and then it just got worse. So I needed something new. Although I would have got a new duty station and went somewhere else new, I chose to get out, which I am 110% grateful for now, because I met my wife and I have my kids now, and I never would have met her if I didn't choose to get out.
Yeah, and I was going to ask about, because it sounds like you did have some thoughts about it at some point, but looking back on it, it's like, obviously, do you miss it? Do you think, what if I did go back in? Or, do those looming thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely, dude. I miss it. However, I recognize, too, that the parts that I miss, I would not get if I went back in. That brotherhood and camaraderie, yeah, it will still be there, but it's not going to be the same, right? All of our boys got moved around already.
Yeah.
And plus, we're not growing up in the suck anymore. We're already grown up. So we're going back into now the leadership and the stressors and being in charge and things like that, which would still be fun. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not what I think I was chasing for.
Yeah, not the same. It's not the same experience.
Yeah, and yes.
Yeah, they always say that your second enlistment and I guess from what I've heard from my seniors who did stand, or my guys that I knew who did stand, they always say that your second enlistment is way different from your first one, because your first one, it's just you're no matter, even if you're an officer, you're at the low totem pole. It's gonna suck. You're gonna be told what to do, but you still get the fun benefits of it. And then when you get into your second one, you lose all of that, but then you get some of the perks. It's like, oh, you're a sergeant now, so then you get the best of both worlds. You can skate out of stuff, or you finally can see your leadership play in and stuff like that. So it does get better, but you don't. It's weird. It gets better, but it's not the same as what we know. Because I guess in our minds, we're still corporals or sergeants or whatever we were when we got out.
For sure.
So, how, because you said when you started getting into veteran into, I want to get the words right here because I know they can get jumbled. Suicide prevention or veteran suicide awareness. Are those the right terms? Would you say?
Can you finish your question so I can answer it?
I'm trying. So. At what point did you get involved in that after you got out in 2017?
2020. So I got tagged, and I had my dirt bike accident was in 2017, 2018. Mm-hmm. I didn't do my physical therapy properly, and it just was a lot of pain.
Yeah.
I didn't do a push-up since before that, and I got tagged in that 22-a-day push-up challenge. Do 22 push-ups a day for 22 days, tagging someone new each day to raise awareness for veteran suicide.
Okay.
It was eating me alive that I couldn't do that, because I felt internally that I could do something. I could help out our community. I could help raise awareness.
Mm-hmm.
The next day, my buddy posted a meme saying, "Stop doing the push-ups, pick up the phone and call your buddy." Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, shoot, light bulb, boom. And then I was talking to my therapist. I was in therapy at the time, and I told her I had this idea. She tried to trick me to go live in her office, telling my friends and family, this is what I was going to start. I was just like, nah, you're the crazy one. Let's switch chairs here. But I went home, created the video, and been doing this for the past 5 years now.
Okay. Do you, because obviously that's one of the biggest things that we hear is, actually check up on your buddies. We hear this all the time. And unfortunately, especially after we hear of someone who has taken their own life, it's always check up on your guys, because we don't want it to happen again. And the implication is if someone is doing bad, you can get down to it. But I want to ask, for one, do you think that is an effective method, just casually going up and asking people if they're doing okay? And then two, what would you recommend to actually make that effective? Do you know what I mean? To see if someone's doing okay or not. Because I feel like when we say that, obviously we have good intentions, but it's just implied that people are honest, or that we're going to get to the root core. But in your opinion, is it effective?
Not the first time around. The first time around is all that surface level jargon, because you don't know if that person's being genuine or not. And plus, we're in our own heads 90% of the time. So
Correct.
Sometimes I don't even want to answer the question, right? But as you started the show, how are you doing? I just straight up went into it and told you, because I know that first time most people are going to lie to you and say good, living the dream, or okay.
Yeah.
But in reality, you have to ask that second time around, because then they'll shift. They're like, oh, he's serious now. He actually wants to know. And it does. You could see their eyes light up, even when they start telling you how bad their day is or what's going wrong, or
the
negative.
mask come off.
Yeah. You see, they're almost relieved. Dang, someone's really asking me. Now I don't got to sit here with this. So don't just ask how you're doing. Follow up with how are you really doing?
Mm-hmm.
And just be willing to listen. And don't try to, this is where I'm struggle.
Okay.
Don't try to correct or fix them. Let them just share it.
Yeah.
And just be appreciative of it. I try to relate to them where oh, I may not have had that experience, but I went through something like this. Or I just tell them, yo, thanks for sharing and thanks for showing up.
Yeah, I've been trying to think of just some stuff to talk about when it comes to the veteran suicide topic, I suppose you would say. But here's another thing. I don't know if this would come across as, I don't want to say controversial. I don't think that's the right word. But do you think that the Marine Corps is doing okay in terms of its ability to treat it, or even just the military as a whole? Because I know you talk more military-wide, but since we're Marines.
No.
Mhm.
But I also don't think that is the military's. That's not the military job, right?
Yeah.
Their job is to train us to be those war fighters, those savages, to go get the mission completed on no matter what the cost is, right?
Yeah.
So no, they're not doing enough, and these death by PowerPoints on suicide awareness is not helping, especially when the culture is to go bash that person when they start to share with you.
Yeah.
So I think one of the best things we can do is to start sharing our stories. And dude, I have to bring up that Wounded Warrior Project storytelling class again. One of the guest participants in there,
Yeah.
he said, you sharing your story is giving somebody else the keys to unlock their own prison.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful because all you got to do is share your story. And if you're like for me, for instance, when I share my story, I'm like, man, nobody really wants to hear this. Nobody cares.
Mm-hmm.
But then you share it and like one or two people start popping out of the woodwork and saying, oh, thank you for sharing. Or you see their interest and you just know it's helping.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, how good does it feel when you get something off of your chest that you've been sitting with for a long time?
Yeah, it's like you can finally take the facade off of like, I need to bottle this, or like you don't feel that you need to be embarrassed by it or anything like that, or whatever, preconceptions you might have of it.
Exactly. You can stop being embarrassed by it and you can move on and work to what's hurting you next, right?
Mm-hmm.
So everything from how we show up today is not because of how we were triggered yesterday. It's from what we learned or did not learn as a child, our coping mechanisms and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So we got to stop for example, I had to stop blaming my wife for what I thought she did to me yesterday. That was just my trigger. Like, yeah, it made me mad and upset, but what actually caused that trigger?
Yeah.
And it stemmed from our childhood. And this goes into the psychedelics as well. And if you're really curious about it, on Netflix, there's a documentary called In Waves and War. Follows 3 Navy SEALs, DJ Capone, Marcus Shipley, and Maddie, and a couple other veterans trickled in. They go into Mexico and take Ibogaine 5-MeO DMT. It's a different beast, but it's in the psychedelic realm.
Uh-huh.
What I took from it is that they all went in talking about their hundreds of combat deployments, their dead friends, and that's what they were expecting to see and work on. But the medicine brought them all back to their childhood. And my third night in my ceremony with ayahuasca, I talked to little Josh, like the little boy version of me. And I started to tell him, like, you should be so proud of yourself. And I was like, nah, dude, fuck that. You are proud of yourself. You are the reason I'm here right now. I am proud of you. You should be so proud of yourself. You are confident. Just talking that self-love and pride. Everything I preach into my little girl. Will you do it with me? Say, I'm beautiful. No, she's a little shy.
Oh.
But
have you heard of shadow work or looked into that?
I've heard of it. I haven't been able to successfully do it myself.
Okay, because I've looked into it a lot, and I know.
Sit down, please.
I know. I don't the big internet personality Jordan Peterson. He talks a lot about that, and I've seen that there's a bunch of parallels because they talk about how a lot of the. I don't want to incorrectly word this, but it seems that where it gets right with ayahuasca, where they do agree, is that a lot of the way that we act, the way that we think, our traumas, it's almost all essentially from our childhood, and so. I find that very interesting how like 2 of the most very effective ways of just healing people mentally in terms of just having to go back in the past and see where things went wrong or where things didn't go right where they should have, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, dude, because if you think about it and you actually take the time to reflect, so maybe it is the shadow work, but the way we are today is from what we learned in our childhood, what our parents taught us. Like, for example, racism. You're not born racist. You become racist over time by the people you're surrounded by. And you could take racism and place it with anything else, whether it be successful, a criminal, and anything in between there, right?
Yeah.
Show me your 5 closest friends, and I'll show you your projection on your life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It all comes down to ultimately what you've associated with, who you associate with, things like that.
Yeah. And life is literally perception. Reality is not what any of us see it. We're all viewing it from our own perspective, the lens that we accustom and grew into from childhood. So yeah, absolutely, we got to fix that.
So I suppose this has to be asked, but to get right to the heart of it, when we see people who do take their lives, obviously horrible, and we can agree that one is too many, but why do you think people still take their lives in spite of a lot of these great things that can heal them, that we can do, ways to reach out? Why do you think ultimately people do that from your estimation?
All right. Well, if you want to talk about plant medicine, you're going to have to spend thousands of dollars outside of the eye mission. It's cheaper than that because it's here in Arizona, right?
Yeah.
But the proper tools and resources aren't easily accessible. Like, you have to pay extreme amounts of money, or our culture, dude. We don't show up for each other the ways we want to show up. We don't even love ourselves the way we need to love ourselves most of the time.
Yeah.
I myself, I'm my own worst critic, and it's taken since ayahuasca and now to start loving myself and showing myself more grace and just allowing myself to be human.
Mm-hmm.
But when your boys are, our way of showing love in the military is what? The trash talk, the shit talk, to beat you down while you're already down because we think it's funny, not realizing that that person could actually be struggling.
Yeah.
And
Like, they won't take it that way.
Yeah, and I was guilty of that too. Like, I was an asshole. I'm sure I'll still be one.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not perfect all the time, but I am trying.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
She's upset because you swore.
It's not the first time she heard it, but hopefully it'll be the last here soon. Okay.
We went very deep. I'm glad that we definitely talked about this. It's a serious topic, but I didn't get into any of the photos that you sent me because that's usually what I try to do at some point in the middle of the show. Pull it up here. So we got one of, I assume this is you in the black suit. We're at the center at the Marine Corps ball. I take that's what it is. Tell me a little about that one.
So that was our first squad, I believe it was. They just got back from their deployment, so they had a different ball. And that was close to me getting out of the Marine Corps. So I just showed up in a black suit and crashed their ball and had a great time. From what I remember.
Was that in Las Vegas?
It was.
Yeah. So it seems like, do they all, when you're in California, do they all have the ball in Las Vegas, I assume?
Most of the time. When I first got there, I think the ball was at the motor pool, or the previous year ball was. I've had one at a casino in California.
Okay.
But yeah, dude, why would you not want to have the ball in Vegas?
I know. It's like, we make fun of it because, like, they always have it there, but it's the most obvious choice to do it. But with that said, though,
that brings up a great answer to a question you've asked me. Why do you
please.
think suicide's still an option? What is the number one coping skill the military taught us?
Oh, to cope? Well, I don't know if they taught us this, but I assume to just bury it and not like most men do.
Alcohol.
Yeah, alcohol.
What has the biggest aisles at the PX, at the gas stations on base? Alcohol.
Yeah.
What causes all of our demons to come out? And when was the last time you heard a group of Marines burn down a bar because they smoked too much weed? Probably never. When was the last time you heard a group of Marines burn down a bar because they got too drunk?
I'm going to pose this question to everybody. Would you rather have, look, people say that, I don't want to ban alcohol. That's too insane. Look, would you rather have a world of potheads or alcoholics? And I pose that literally. And I assume, you might have an answer on that, but please continue.
I think there are people that can successfully drink properly.
Mm-hmm.
I was never taught that. And I have the Pringles condition. So once I pop, I don't stop until I wake up with regret, remorse. Who do I owe money to? Where's my car?
I was about to ask you what the Pringles condition is, but you just flowed that off the tongue so good. I'm like, oh, wow, that is incredible. It makes sense, too.
Absolutely.
What is the Pringle condition? I want to hear it again. What is the Pringles condition?
It's when I pop and I don't stop until I wake up with regret and remorse, depression. One of the last times that I truly drank, I was proud of myself. I only drank Bud Light. I didn't mix, didn't take shots, none of that. Went home early, spent time with the girls, laughing, having a great time, spent time with my wife, laughing, had a great time, woke up depressed, upset, mad, unhappy. I'm like, what the heck? Like, why am I doing this to myself? And something I heard recently is that if you woke up feeling like you feel on a hangover, you would take yourself to the hospital.
Mm-hmm.
But because it's because you drank last night, it's okay.
Yeah. That's a good analogy that you bring up with it. And part of the reason I pose that is like with the previous question is because think about everything that gets exacerbated or all the horrible BS that happens in people's lives because they're either alcoholics or because it was alcohol induced. You know what I mean?
Yeah, what makes things worse?
Yes.
You get out of control when you drink. Like, don't get me wrong. I know people that have smoked or taken edibles, and I'm not justifying switch over to smoking, right? I'm justifying healing from what you're going through,
Yeah.
and maybe you will be able to drink responsibly.
Yeah.
I don't have that trait built in.
Mm.
Yeah, princess. I love you too. Can you say it in the microphone? Okay.
We do endorse family values here at 4 Years a Slave.
Real interesting name title. Bringing my kids here too as well. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yes. So the 4 Years a Slave, or I don't think I've talked about it, maybe like once on the show. So this is new revealing stuff. It's like we found Noah's Ark or something. But when I was deployed I was on a MEU in 2020. So this was during COVID time. So everything was shut down. We had morale was at its lowest, nothing to do. I get to go on ship tax. So that's basically they take some of the Marines and like, hey, for 3 weeks or a month, you have to help out. Like you get a job to go help with the Navy. So I had to go on the mess decks, which is like like the Navy's chow hall, I guess you'd say. So what I did to help lighten the mood or to have something to do, I would take this whiteboard and I would draw out memes and stuff. I would, trace like a famous meme template and make a little title of it, and I'd put it up on. We had like a fruit stand at the front where everybody would eat, and I'd put it up there, and everyone loved it. So every lunch and dinner, I would draw up a different meme to like entertain the masses of enlisted that would come out and eat, and everyone loved it. I was like a quasi celebrity on the boat for a little while, and when we started to get off, they wanted me to make a kind of a meme page or a community page on Instagram where we could all stay together. So one of my friends Bill Popa, he was a guy in Scout Snipers. He came up with the name, why don't you call it 7 Months a Slave? Because we were on that deployment for 7 months long. So for a while, it was called 7 Months a Slave. But then when I changed it into a podcast and I wanted to, because for a while, it was just more for my unit, 2-8. Shout out 2-8. On February 28th, by the way, 2-8 Raw, we called it 7 months, but then as I branched out to make it more military encompassing, I figured 4 Years a Slave, just so it's not, you can see why, like the brand name for that.
How has that name affected you in any way?
I am curious because I don't want to say Instagram is shadow banning me, but I do have a theory that they might be because of the name. I will say because a lot of people when I see people's faces like get light up like that, I always assume they think it's a racial thing or something like that, even though a lot of the Black Marines that I serve with, they think it's hilarious, and a lot of them have come on the show. I don't think it's changed me, though, if this is getting to what you're answering that. So the question was, has the name changed me in any way?
Affected you.
Oh, affected me in any way. I take that back. Has the name 4 Years a Slave affected me in any way? Not that I can think of, at least off surface level, off the top of my head, no.
So I asked this because my original podcast name was very controversial itself.
Okay.
I used to be MVGA, Make Veterans Great Again. I did
Okay.
it in 2020.
Yeah.
So was that like peak of him losing the election or right around him losing the election,
Yeah.
something like that? But I did it for the pure marketing scheme, right? I felt like I am talking about veteran suicide. It needs the impact that Make America Great Again is willing to do. Man, I love that name, and it was my baby. It hurt my heart that I had to, when I chose to change it to the JMach podcast.
Uh-huh.
I'm grateful for it now, but that was like my baby. I built it from nothing.
Yeah.
However, it got to the point where people don't read, brother. They just associate.
Yeah.
And they would just be like, Trump this, Trump that, whether they're for Trump or against Trump. And I'm like, this has nothing to do with him.
So what was the controversy behind that? Did they just assume that, like, were you associating the military with
Dude,
Trump
this was
because
like
of the
peak
name?
when everybody was hating Trump, like right after his first election. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah. And it was just like, I have a mixed family.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't working out for me. I was spending more times validating that I wasn't a racist or this isn't about Trump or anything like that.
Like you had to
than
defend
talking.
yourself over something like you had to defend yourself for it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like I had to be more like correct with that name. Now with JMach, like it's my name, dude. It's who I am. I could just be myself.
I don't want to, and granted, I haven't had to deal with any, I guess, like repercussions or something like that, which I gotta, if I'm just taking it at its surface level, because again, I'm just going off of the synopsis of what you're saying, but like, that's a complete overreaction to a name like that, and it's just like completely immature. It's like,
that shows you where society was at or is at, right?
Yeah.
So just because you and I don't feel that way, we're not the masses.
Mm-hmm.
or I was just around the wrong groups.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, if we're tying it back to like the name 4 Years a Slave, it's like I think most, as far as I know, I think most people have enough, because it's mostly for just like veterans and military. I think they have enough wherewithal to get like, oh, okay, it's because you're in for 4 years most of the time.
No, I
and you're
get
kind
it.
of- yeah.
It makes sense. I was just curious. I
No.
just wanted to ask.
No, yeah, I haven't had anything like that personally, but I have to admit, like, if it did start to get that way, I mean, to be fair, I don't know how I would react because I haven't had attention on me like that. I mean, was it just your family bringing that to you, or was it?
It was everywhere I went, dude.
Really?
I also brought it upon myself because I did make a red hat with white letters.
That's still
right?
cool though. Like that's a cool way
I
to.
thought so. I thought it was a great marketing scheme. It
Yeah.
was solely marketing purposes, anyways,
Yeah.
right? And then, but yeah, dude, it just. If I had to take any time away from talking about my whole purpose to defend myself on something else, like it was a waste of my time,
Mm-hmm.
and it just became too much, and it just wasn't worth it for me.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since I changed it, it's been super beneficial for me. But I'm just trying to relate to you, not trying to say
No,
that's
yeah.
what you need to do or what you should do.
No, I understand. You want to see, it's like, because I assume with a name like that, it's like, are you seeing anything similar happen?
Yeah.
Like, what's in the story of it? I can't say I've had any eyeballs. I mean, I've had like with like Levi earlier. Like there was another, because I did one in Atlanta with I have 2 Black Marines that I served with. We did a Black History Month special in Atlanta, and the podcast producer, she was like, "Wait a minute, 4 years a slave?" And then we explained it. She's like, "Oh, okay." So thankfully, I haven't dealt with anything.
Yeah. I was going out to events. I was at like a big conference in Vegas.
Yeah.
And then when I would approach dark green Marines or dark green individuals,
Which
I
blows
got
my
that.
mind, because it's like even dark green Marines are like pretty based people, from like, not all of them, but a lot of them. It's like I feel like they wouldn't care.
I just, yeah, it was interesting, dude.
Mhm.
However, it's been super beneficial since, and I don't regret it. I don't regret changing my name. I still think Make Veterans Great Again is a great concept that I'll bring back eventually.
Yeah.
Maybe do a segment on it somehow, but it wasn't serving me anymore.
Yeah, like it was almost hindering rather than actually.
100% it was hindering.
Yeah.
Actually, it was election year. It was turning into election year, and I was already dealing with that shit, and like whether he won or not, which he did,
Yeah.
I didn't want to have that. I also don't even want to talk about politics. I don't even know why we're so deep into this right now. Anyways, it's
No,
my
I get
fault.
what you're saying.
It's my fault. But yeah, I didn't want to be associated with that at all. I view what I'm doing as my future and like successful and all that.
And I've been thinking about it too when it comes to like being any type of competitor. It's like, I hate to say it, but like if you have to make changes like that, sometimes it does have to happen because, are you in it for the sake of just having a show or having the name? Or are you in it to, as in your case, prevent veteran suicide, raise awareness? It's like, what is the ultimate goal here? And if you have to make that sacrifice, then hey, so be it.
Yeah, and I'm talking about like mental health, and now I have a triggering name. I felt almost hypocritical, right? Because sadly, I feel like people would take it to that level.
Yeah.
Or like social media would.
Mm-hmm. Do you think that if people are getting that triggered over a name, though, do you think it's really like? Do you think like
I think they have great fucking lives. If their biggest problem is make veterans great again and it's going to trigger them, they must have nothing going on in their life that makes them upset or mad.
Yeah, it's like what's the real root cause of this mental health that we need to get to the bottom to?
Yeah.
Do you feel getting married and having kids, that's either how has that affected your mental health, or do you in terms of that?
It's been beneficial and detrimental, 100%.
Mm.
But I can't answer the truth. Well, I can, right? I don't know if it was detrimental because I wasn't working on myself, so I was still traumatized and hurt and trying to heal. Hold on, let me finish my statement, okay? And I was trying to heal from my childhood traumas or my military experience or my ex-wife and all of those.
Uh-huh.
Or if it was because my wife and I weren't meant for each other at that moment. But we're still together today, and we're happy, and we're working through it. Dude, relationships are the most work I've ever had in my life.
Mm-hmm.
And the grass isn't greener on the other side. It's greener where you water it. So you have to choose to fight and put up with the ups and downs. And you also have to see your role and the response that your significant other is showing you. How are you showing up to them that's making them show up that way? Yeah, sometimes. Did I say? Sometimes they are the problem. Most of the time, we are the problem. And we also got to recognize what we allow. And that's not just about our significant others and relationships and children screaming daddy.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to hear it, you got to go sit away. Can you go sit in that chair? Go watch us in that chair. Then I got to turn this off. Did that answer?
Yeah. Plus, I see it helps with negotiation skills a little bit too.
Kind of. Okay.
Yeah, but I see what you mean though, because in a lot of ways, if you have at least some decent ability to self-introspect, it can reveal a lot about you in certain ways. And I think you'll hear this a lot, especially now with nuclear family dynamics, because a lot of people are going no contact with their parents, or they're just not wanting, like they're doing Friendsgivings. I don't know if you've heard of this. Instead of going with their families, they just have a Thanksgiving with their friends. But people say this all the time about their families, like, I can't stand them anymore. It's like, well, if you take the time to look, it's probably because of something you're doing. Like, whatever you don't like about your family, it's probably because of something that you have, like, a personal issue with. So I think it's just I guess to summarize what you said, it's a good tool for self-introspection.
Yeah, I think for example, I feel everybody's energies and I take it on to myself. Like, I wear their energy instead of just allowing them to be the grumpy or miserable or happy or sad ones.
Yeah.
I feel it with them, and then I feel like I get into those moods and mindsets, and that's not what I want to be about.
Yeah, I struggle with that too. It sucks just absorbing the environment around you, even if you know it's not good for you.
Yeah, and that's something I got to continue to work on to be able to let go, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I've also been able to recognize the patterns. Like, I could just sit it was like Christmas, I believe. I just sat back and I watched everything happen, and it was like I knew I was the next. I knew someone said this. I know what's gonna say now, or like how the cycle is gonna go, and it was really interesting. Like ayahuasca, dude. Like I just keep talking about it because it genuinely. I say it saved my marriage and restored my life, because before it, I felt like I was trying to heal with no light at the end of the tunnel. It was miserable. I was depressed still. It was terrible.
Like doing it on your own, more or less.
I felt like I couldn't do anything but just exist. Like, it was bad, bro. I wasn't cleaning I was a stay-at-home parent. I wasn't cleaning. I was barely cooking or getting food and doing the bare minimum to keep the kids alive, as I said.
Yeah.
And when I purged that all out, bro, I've been able to have more energy to do things differently. It's still a challenge day to day, but it's an easier challenge.
Yeah. Because I assume it's not like you just have somebody telling you to do this, or feel like, what did you physically see when you're going through ayahuasca?
So nothing. I didn't see too many visuals. The second night, as I said, I found my perfect algorithm. As I was purging out into my bucket, out of the corner of my eye, I felt like I was flowing through like a dimension or a portal, and like these light fractals were just like flying by my peripherals.
Like something out of Star Trek? Like
kind of. Yeah, dude. But it was like me purging out. I swear all I had to do was have my mouth open, and whatever was inside me was just spewing out. And at a point it didn't feel like I was throwing up, but I was.
Mm-hmm.
And it's one of those experiences where it's super hard to explain, because I want to share everything with you, and I feel like I need to share every detail for you to fully understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
But then we're going to be here for 6 hours.
Nah. Yeah.
So this used to happen to me all the time, because leading up to it, I was scared, man. I chickened out a couple of times, and then this one I didn't, thankfully, and I finally went through it, and I was scared all the way up until taking the medicine on the second night.
Mm-hmm.
But if you ever feel called to do it, do it. Do it scared, because you know what bravery is? Being scared and doing it anyways. And that's what I preached to my girl, so I had to do it for myself.
Yep. What is it? What do they say? What's the Chinese proverb? It's like cowardly people and brave people feel the same thing. Just brave people do. They just act with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I've never heard that. I like it though.
Yeah. Something poetic, Taoist, whatever it may be. So, yeah, I'm all stumped. I feel like I wanted to save a lot of the mental health stuff for like the latter part, because I wanted to end it. But I feel like we've great conversation, but we've really milked it dry though. Talking about a lot of it. There was one question I had with it. Oh, this is actually one I think I have. So when people talk about veteran suicide, usually it's always associated with like the military's at fault for that. The Marine Corps is at fault. It's whatever they dealt with. But one thing I've been thinking about is we see that mental health in general is just terrible across the board, like in the U.S., Canada, UK. Do you think it would help that if the military starts addressing why mental health is terrible across the board, or look into that, maybe it would help them figure out how to prevent like their active duty, their veterans to, be better, if that makes sense?
I believe mental health should be taught in boot camp. From boot camp on. I think mental health should be taught in school.
Yeah.
Like coping mechanisms, breathing techniques. Dude, think of it. Were you ever taught to breathe, or did you just know
never.
how to breathe?
Yeah, it's just expected.
But did you know that like deep breathing is very beneficial for your mental health, and it could pull you out of like spirals and panic attacks and like level you out just by breathing?
It wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, dude, it's super beneficial for you.
And not to cut you off, but the reason that I ask all this is because, so I think for the Marines, I don't know if this is across the board military, but I think the veteran or the Marine suicide rate is twice the national average, I think, or something like that. But everybody always jumps to the conclusion that it's the Marine Corps' fault or it's the military's fault, that the military is putting way too much on its service members for the suicide problem. But the way I look at it is if regular society that doesn't have all these stressors, you can live a more free or independent life. If the mental health in our normal world is doing abysmal, do we really expect that the military is going to do better than that? Because if that's what we're pulling from, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but we also got to think how fucked up we were to sign up to go chase bullets. So we were messed up before we even...
Yeah.
The trauma we experienced as kids is what led us into the military. So the military just compiles onto that trauma. Just like college compiles onto your trauma, just like you working in the civilian sector compiles onto your trauma.
Yeah.
It's all compounded trauma. A civilian had to tell me this before it registered in my brain. But did you know the military trains us to kill, but it doesn't teach us how to become a civilian again, how to reintegrate back?
Oh, I know that very well.
In boot camp, every other word out of our mouth is pretty much kill.
Yeah.
So that's like desensitized, like it's just another word to me. Kill, 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 kill.
My shout out to Yoni Neumann. The way that he put it is like they send us to boot camp and they tell us to yell at a tire tied to a wall and stab it a bunch of times, yelling kill, kill, kill. Like you're not going to be normal when you come back.
Yeah. We weren't normal to begin with is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
And then they send us out with like a week-long class of death by PowerPoint or like how to put your name on a resume and maybe change like one or two things on it, but they don't really give us life skills to get out.
Yeah.
I think there needs to be a skill bridge program that is like a transitioning schooling, almost like a halfway house.
Yeah.
So like the last 6 months of your contract or however long skill bridge is good for, instead of going to a job and employment per se, you go to this halfway house where you're learning mental health, you're learning transitioning skills, you're learning different career fields that are out there.
Yeah.
Like why doesn't that exist yet?
Yeah, just something really practical for just a practical life skill, I guess you'd say.
Yeah. And a lot of it is our own selves, right? Because the culture in the military, the culture of being men, and the culture in society is that we just need to suck it up. We need to quit hiding, stop being a bitch. We're all going through something. Somebody has it worse. Stop comparing. Work on your own shit.
Yeah. No, I fully agree. There's the suffer in silence mentality. Like it's useful, but it sometimes it shouldn't be silent. I guess would be a way of putting it.
And you know how many veterans say that like they knew something was wrong with them, but due to their career field in the military or just being in the military, that they were too afraid to say anything because they would get yanked away and they would be shunned and looked at and like chastised. And so they chose to continue to show up while deteriorating themselves. And then they get out. And while we're on active duty, we have group therapy every day, whether you recognize it or not. You're forced to be around like 20, 30 other people that are very similar minded than you. You can joke the same, or we can go out to the woods and handle our business and come back and have a drink with each other and still be boys, right?
And you know what's funny? And maybe this is probably the solution, but have you looked into or seen a lot of the stuff they're talking about, how the male loneliness epidemic? Have you heard of that like topic thrown around?
I felt it. I've never heard of it.
Yeah. Well, I was reading something wacky. I mean, I don't know how true it is, but they say that because there's a lot of men right now, they're not getting married until, I think the average age of marriage is in the early 30s now. A lot of men just don't have friends. So there's pretty much no community that's,
That isolation.
Yeah, and even people aren't even going to church anymore. So there's just literally no like everything that we had in the military. We had leadership. We had a lot of peers. We had juniors. We had the full community, the full camaraderie to its max extent. And I think at its extreme end, when you have nobody, if you're extremely lonely, it's about the equivalent of smoking like 5 or 6 cigarettes a day, like in terms of your health or something like that. And when you talked about it being I forget the terminology you use, but like we have the solution in front of us, just having all our buddies with us. It's like we really underestimate that value of just having a community of people, like whether it's just all the guys or if it's a church community, whatever it may be. When you actually have a tribe to be a part of, that is insanely. It's almost like a necessity, but we take it for granted.
Absolutely, and that's what I was talking about, isolation.
Yeah.
Because we isolate ourselves because we feel like either nobody's going to understand, we don't want to burden them with our problems,
Yes.
or something similar along those lines. So we end up isolating ourselves, and we fall into our own narratives where we're spiraling. And now we're thinking 10 steps ahead, but reality's at step 1. But now we're so far into like this fake world that we've created for ourselves because we don't want to go out, and it gets harder for us each time to go out. Like when a traumatic incident happens in your life, whether it's a death, loss of job, something, the faster you get back on that horse, the easier it is going to be for you mentally. You're still going to struggle.
Yeah.
But the longer you take time off of going back to a daily routine, the harder it is to get back onto that routine, and the more lost you become.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't have too much to add in terms of the community aspect, but I think we can agree, obviously, it's essential for that. Or what were you going to say?
It's okay.
Okay. So I'll find a way to tie it back later. But so when you were back as a combat engineer, how was the dynamic of what were some of the highlights of the people that you served with? Like, do you have any shout outs you want to give, some goofy personalities, anybody that, how was the engineer platoon of Corporal Mach, Lance Corporal Mach?
Sergeant, brother. No, I'm just kidding. I picked up Sergeant like right before I got out.
Okay, yeah.
Dude, I had some great people that I really loved. I wish I had the mentality to find a proper mentor. I said I was never around the people that I needed to inspire me, but even if I was, I didn't have the mindset to accept it. I wanted what I wanted, and that was it, right? I didn't...
Like you didn't know how to take advice or criticism?
I didn't know how to look for something, guidance, right? I thought I could do it all on my own.
Yeah.
And so a lot of my seniors, they chose to get out. And then once they were getting out, you turn salty. You get that when you graduate high school, that senioritis, like it kicks in and like, oh, dude, there's nothing. They can't keep me here. I'm graduating in a couple of days. It's like how it is when you decide to get out, right? And that's like a cancer, and it spreads to the people you're around. I said it earlier. Show me your 5 closest friends. I'll show you your projection.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I stayed. I think more of my juniors stayed in than any of my peers and seniors.
Yeah.
To be honest.
Mm-hmm. How were not necessarily going back into like what am I aiming for here? So like when you were in how did you fit into the platoon? Were you like the degenerate one? Were you the nerd, or were you
I was the old one, dude. I was old.
Oh, did you enlist when you were older?
Yeah, I was 23 when I joined the Marine Corps, and
okay, that's not too bad, but yeah,
that's considered old.
As soon as among the enlisted, yes, that is considered an old man.
Fleet, I can't remember if it was my lieutenant or my platoon sergeant. I think it was my lieutenant. He said, "Man, I'm so tired of getting you old people," or something along that lines of like, no more old people. And it was because there was like another dude that was in his 30s, I think, that was in the platoon, and
yeah.
he was still kind of new.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know how to answer that, dude. I feel like I had a love-hate. Like, people loved me and hated me at the same time. My NCOs, my leaders, I'm probably still a boot. I should probably still be a boot, but I have a video on my phone of like my NCOs within a few months of me being in the fleet saying, "Mac's not a boot." Yes, we were under the influence, but they stood by it, and I think that's what it was, though. I can connect with people, right? Like,
yeah.
My first impression, there's a good chance you're going to hate me, because if I'm talking quick and fast, I'm just talking shit and throwing out jokes the whole time. But when you get your chance to sit down and talk to me, I get to be empathetic and learn about you and share about you. I'm really good at getting people to open up, and just naturally. Like I just ask questions. I just want to learn.
Yeah.
So I feel like some people hated me. My first sergeant hated me at the end. My platoon sergeant hated me at the end. But at that point, I didn't care because I was already going through it at home.
Well, what did they hate you for, though? What do you mean by, like, they hated you? Because when I hear of people who enlist when they're usually older, from the ones that I've seen, because you have to think, most people were like me. They enlisted when they were 18, 19 years old. They're basically brand new to the game of life. They're not very mature. They're very, having to learn. Like, they're basically, I don't want to say blank slates, but they can be pretty immature when they start in. But I've noticed with people who enlist at an older age, they're more on top of things. They do their job very well. They make very few mistakes. Not that they're studs, but there's just not a lot of nonsense that comes out of them. So when I hear that you've enlisted at 23, it's like that's the image that I think of.
I feel I got treated differently. I do, honestly.
Okay.
Not all the time, and I still had to do the shitty stuff a lot of the times too, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like I got a little bit more respect because I was older than them, and so, but I just connect with. It's hard for me to answer because I feel like this has been my experience my whole life. I always became friends with people I shouldn't have. Like when I started a new job, I quickly became friends with the managers and things like that.
Yeah.
But
okay.
because I'm willing to say shit to them that most employees aren't willing to. Right?
Yes. Okay.
So, yeah, I was their drinking buddies.
You didn't fall in line with the rest of the I don't know if this is the right way to put it, but I know what type of character you're talking about. Like you weren't afraid to ask questions if there's a problem, if you need to push a boundary. It's like you weren't as passive, I guess, as the rest of the new joins were. I'm saying like 1,000 times in all my sentences, and that drives me up a wall. I had to say that.
I keep catching myself saying right, and that drives me up a wall. I get so mad because you're not supposed to say that because that's like you're giving your confidence and control away. You're looking for validation.
Okay.
So you're just supposed to say what you're going to say and keep rolling on.
I need to pay attention. I don't think I do that, but I need to pay attention because I love to nitpick the filler words, the likes, the ums, the rights, whatever it may be.
You can keep talking over here. I can multitask.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yes,
Making
when we're
sure.
done, we can go, I promise. But if you go sit down, we'll go again.
Sorry, Ellie. Don't want to interfere with daddy time. But what was I don't even remember. Oh, yeah, the filler words. Yeah, I try to, because obviously being podcasters, I assume you think of it too. You want to make sure the presentation's on point. You want to make sure you sound articulate. You want to make sure that all the small details are right when you speak. And that's the way I view it, but I can't get I always say the filler words. I don't really correct it, but I notice that it's there in every episode.
Yeah, it gets me a lot, or it used to for sure.
Mm-hmm.
From the storytelling class, that a shout out to Wounded Warrior Project again. There we go. I got told that I came across as a used car salesman. And that triggered me, not to the point where I was mad and lashed out, but it's almost insulted and hurt. Yes. I am trying to just show up my best so I can give you the best product, but then it's being perceived as a used car salesman. And I should have asked for clarity. What does that actually mean to you? Because they did say I was polished and things like that. But to me, a used car salesman's like a snake, shady, used car salesman's trying to sell you a used car, acting like it's brand new, getting full price. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But maybe I also built that up in my head, and it's not that way.
Mm-hmm.
But
I just want to say you don't come across that way to me. So
thank you, because I'm trying to come across more natural. And although yes, we should not be saying, if someone can sit in the back of the room and count how many, and are just in there counting how many ums you're doing, you've lost their attention. So your speech is basically useless at that point, right? Because they're only focused on your ums or filler words.
Correct.
However, society wants us to come across as real and raw and vulnerable now. So I believe a couple likes and a couple of ums isn't going to be the end of the world. Now you have that built up in your head. I haven't caught on. Trust me, I catch patterns quickly. I didn't catch on damn, this motherfucker's saying like all the time. I didn't catch on to that. So I think you're doing a great job, brother.
All right, perfect. Yeah, I'd like to self-indulge and think I'm great at what I do, but we'll
don't think no, you are.
Yeah.
We got to change
Confidence.
our mindset.
Yeah. I am a great podcaster.
It feels good. I know you're trying to be sarcastic to mask it, but it felt good when you beat it on your chest and said that, didn't it?
It did. It felt very good. So please like and subscribe and give us money. We are trying to, do well with this stuff.
Yeah, let's follow, and subscribe.
Yes,
For sure.
To the JMach podcast. Well, we'll do the plugs at the end, but yeah, nonetheless, do something to support us. Where was I going to go with that? Yeah. What was your funniest moment that you had when you were enlisted?
Ooh, man, I don't think I have it. Funny for others, I have a couple, but I'll share one.
I like the way you frame that. Yes, funny for us.
In boot camp, I was that recruit that got a letter sent back to the drill instructors. Yes. I love you too. Go sit down. Let me finish the story, and we'll get candy, okay?
But you said you
Can you-
sent
you.
back to the drill instructor?
Yeah, so I had a buddy from are you afraid of me touching your hand? I keep noticing it.
Yeah, I mean, hey, look, it's 2026. I mean, we're not we don't judge here.
This is my new boot band, okay? So it's on. It's not gay if you got your boot band on.
That is true. Yes, that is very true. So I
Yeah.
am comfortable.
So in boot camp, though, yes, I had a buddy I grew up with. He joined the Marine Corps before me a couple years, and he wrote me a letter. And I was just honest, and it was a mistake. And I talked shit a little bit because he got NJP'd, so he was down to like a Lance Corporal, I believe.
Uh-huh.
And I was looking at getting 2 people to sign up on recruiter assistance, so I would have been a Lance Corporal as well. And I said,
Okay.
we would be the same rank, haha. That's probably one of the many things I said that pissed him off. Or he thought would be funny. And then I talked about how boot camp has been easy so far. I've only been IT'd like 5 times, and none of them been my fault. And fat ass Mac can do it, anybody can do it, and things like that.
Yeah.
We were doing mail call at Camp Pendleton for second phase.
Okay.
Yes, baby. I love you too. Okay. I need a little time. Okay. Can you watch the phone? You know what? Sit here with me. So it happened. We were sitting school circle, guides rack, mail call. When we were in boot camp, we were allowed to get protein bars and emergency packets in our care packages.
Uh-huh.
So our drill instructor that was handing out the mail just got up, and our senior drill instructor came and sat down and took over and started to talk with us. I opened up. It was like some chocolate protein bar, so it made me feel extra fat. I just bit into it, and the drill instructor comes out of the huddle, huffing and puffing, all tough, and he's like, "Oh, really? I instantly knew. I knew as soon as I heard him coming out of the duty hut, angry. It sunk. Like I knew it was for me.
Yeah, there was a spiritual connection
Yes.
that let you know.
Yes, I didn't know what it was going to be about or why. And he came out. He's like, "Oh, fat ass Mac could do it. This could do that. Who the fuck is Mac?" As I have like chocolate protein bar just chewing away in my mouth, like being called a fat ass eating chocolate in boot camp.
I know you had to be fresh shaven, but I just picture you right now with like clothes like this, and there's just chocolate chunks on the beard.
Dude, my face probably turned pale too. Yeah. I was saving some for later for sure, dude. And after that, I was supposed to go to every deck and report in and just get hazed or trained, IT'd.
Yes.
That's when I noticed the integrity of drill instructors is to fuck you up.
Mm-hmm.
Did you go to MCRD San Diego?
Paris Island.
Okay, so second phase when we go to San Diego or Camp Pendleton, we do 1 PX and haircut.
Okay.
They're right next to each other, and there's a huge sandbox in the middle. I was the first one through the PX and the first one through the haircut, and I was in the sandbox the entire time. And they would just click.
That is hilarious.
They would just click their watch because they're only supposed to IT you for like 3 to 5 minutes or whatever it is. That's all they're allowed to do.
Huh, okay.
And they would click it. They would click their watch and reset the timer, and then they would switch out drill instructors. And it got to the point that I was like so mad and tired that like every time I was so sandy too because I was covered in sweat and I was just rolling around in the sand that I would come up and just throw handfuls of sand in the air because they couldn't tell that it was coming off of me or my hands, and you would just see them like push, jumping jacks, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And you know what saved fat ass Mac?
What did save fat ass Mac?
Chow. They had to get us to chow. So I got stopped getting IT'd in the sandbox, and they took me to chow. And then I still knocked out like 10 to 12 pull-ups after that, because after we ate, we would always have to do a max set of pull-ups outside on the pull-up bars.
You don't sound like a fat ass. You sound like an animal. That's what you sound like. I mean, so you're able to knock out all that time getting, IT'd, then you just eat and then knock out pull-ups like that?
Physically, I was an animal. Mentally, I was a fat ass. I had I didn't have the self-confidence yet. I didn't have the self-belief. The Marine Corps didn't build me back up yet.
Oh, okay, yeah.
I was still broken prior to the military service, on top of the Marines breaking you down to build you back up. I didn't have
Yes.
that mentality switch yet.
Okay.
So I still felt insecure for a long time. But
Yeah.
yes, I had my fellow recruits cheering me on and saying, "Oh shit, go Mac." And then we were marching back to our barracks, doing drilling back. And when you're in formation, you're not allowed to talk. So another company and their drill instructor came by and they're like, "Oh, good recruit. You don't want to clean your uniform? Recruit, you don't know how to wash your uniform?" I didn't say anything. I just kept marching. I knew who else they talking to. I know it's me.
Yeah.
But if I would have said something, I would have got messed up again.
Yeah.
And then my drill instructor's like, "Oh, good, Mac. You don't want to respond? Good." So yeah, that was a funny story for others, I'm sure.
That's pretty funny. Definitely, I assume fun to look back on and just indulge in.
Yeah, dude. I conquered a lot, and I love the Marine Corps, dude. As much as I could ever say I hate it, I love it too.
Yeah, very few people. I don't even want to say that because I feel like I don't think I've met anybody who says that they necessarily regret the Marine Corps, look back on it as a waste of time.
I know a lot of people that say they hated the Marine Corps or their military experience or they regret it and things like that, right?
Yeah.
But it got us to survive to where we're at today.
Yeah.
And now if you're doing something, whether it's a substance personally in your life and it's no longer helping you and it's hurting you, it's no longer, get rid of it.
Mhm.
Work on it. Like drinking, huge one.
Yeah, terrible one. So I do think that's a good segue because I think we've got about 10 minutes, but yeah, about 10 minutes left. So what I usually do, I should have let you know this before, but I make any plugs that you want. So if there's anything you want to promote, you want people to follow you on social media, just leave that out there. And then whatever advice you want to give to anyone who's still in the military that's listening, you have the floor to tell them whatever it is you want.
Before I do that, I should have did this at the very beginning. But how are you doing, bro?
How am I doing today?
Yeah.
Obviously I'm feeling good because I'm glad I can meet you in person. I'm always glad to do episodes like this. I feel good but amped because the morning was all over the place, and then I found out about the Iran stuff that's happening, which we're filming on the day of the news of the airstrike. So I'm a news freak, so I love to. That's a bad habit like alcohol. I love to doom scroll and indulge in that. So just really anxious and amped up, but I feel good. I feel good today.
How you really doing?
Have you cracked the barrel? You might have cracked the barrel. I think he did. How am I really doing? I feel in life, I feel okay, but I feel content, I guess you would say. I wish things could be better. I wish the show would be growing a little more. I wish I'd have a little more friends maybe at work if I could get vulnerable perhaps, which I assume is the goal of it. But yeah, but I feel okay though.
I know you're lying to me. And here's how. You
Wait a minute. Wait, you know what? Let me at least share it. Let me hear why.
If you want to play back the clip later, you can watch. You thought about telling me something, and you switched and stopped. When I asked how you're really doing and you started talking, you were sharing. Is that video loud? Okay. You thought about sharing something. I watched it come across your face, and you were like, "I'm doing good. I'm doing well," or whatever you said.
I'm gonna be a selfish, prideful person and say that I didn't do the part, but I probably did.
Maybe not loudly, but
no, I trust your
clues
judgment.
did.
I do. I just like to say stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I am doing okay. Don't get me wrong. I'm doing fine. Are there problems? Are there things? Well, maybe not problems. Are there things that would I like to change or work on? Things in life, challenges, I guess you would say, perhaps. But I am content.
Right. But those challenges and things you want to work on is what makes you human and relatable, right?
Yeah.
Because people are watching this show. First of all, you have the balls to do this, and most people are sitting there wishing or waiting to start something. You're actually living it.
Yeah.
So now they're looking up to you. Whether you believe it or not, people look up to you, and they only see you talking about you're doing good, right? But what does good really look like? Good could mean I am struggling today. I am going through X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
This went wrong. But here's what I'm doing to do better. And that's what people need to understand, is that like just because somebody comes across, especially on social media, that their life's great and perfect, it 110% is not. So once you
Agreed.
close that door, that's the person and version of you that I want to know, not the one that you show up as and pretend to be.
Mhm.
Because you said at work you're showing up a way that's not genuinely you because you're not being authentic, or you didn't use those words, but that's how I relate.
Yeah.
So when you take that mask off and you share, that's what the other people are going to relate to you on, right? So
Yeah, I agree.
okay, how do you not allow what's happening in Iran right now to allow you to spiral? What coping mechanism do you resort to that keeps you living a good life instead of just diving down that rabbit hole of like, we're going to war, I'm going to go sign up or whatever?
That's actually a really good one because I do think this is useful. So when I did door-to-door sales, I remember when I would go knock around neighborhoods and stuff like that, and you would be in a small neighborhood for like most of the day, right? And one thing I picked up is you'll see a lot of people, they will get warped into on whatever they're seeing here, whether it be Iran, whether it be in Minnesota from last month, whether it be in New York with more stuff going on there. People assume whatever is going on out in the world, they assume that it's just happening right in front of them. So what I try to do is I just try to take a look at my immediate vicinity and forget that look. Iran is a country that is 2,000 miles away. Most human beings on Earth never even traveled that far in their lifetime. Realistically, is Iran going to fix my dating life? Is it going to fix my finances? Is it the problem, for me not making friends at work or whatever it may be? I have to remember what's going on in my immediate.
Where your feet are.
Yes. And when I say the word literally, I mean it literally. What is literally in my waking life? What is happening right now? Is it helping me have a better conversation with you? No, it's really not. So I just have to remember that, like, that's 2,000 miles away. Unless it comes to like our shores, or unless it shows up in Albuquerque somehow, forget about it.
I have a challenge / homework for you.
Please.
And to find out why you're so invested into Iran or whatever, scrolling, what are you escaping from? What are you trying not to think about? What are you trying to avoid? What do you not want to work on? So you're spending your time on worried about Iran or whatever else.
I would love to do that because it's actually been something I've been getting really warped up in the last few months. So
you got a long drive back, don't you?
I have a very long drive back. That is perfect. Should I do should Joshua Mach challenge me to do a follow-up video on that, perhaps?
Too late, I already did.
Oh, wow. Very good. So all of that very good with I think we did answer the question. So where can people find you on social media? Because you do, like, I've watched from the last few episodes that I have seen. I love the format that you have. It's a very formal, down and dirty to, like, mental health, suicide prevention. Very good for that. Where can people find you? JMach Podcast, anywhere else on there?
YouTube, all streaming sources, all social media. I'm most active on Instagram. It's just my comfort zone, but it's JMach, JMach podcast. I also host the JMach Sandbox, which is a live I used to word it as a networking event for veterans and first responders with mental health resources in the room, but I've learned it's more of this generation's version of peer support, where I'm meeting the veterans where they're at.
Yes.
So I have 2 to 3 guest openers that are all veterans, first responders, and they share a story, comedian, whatever. And then I do a podcast recording and I highlight the mental health resources that are in the room once it's done.
Okay.
So you can find me on social media through JMach Podcast or JMach Sandbox.
I know you gave a lot of shout outs to Wounded Warrior storytelling, but is there anything that you want to promote in addition to that may not be from you?
I have to promote the Aya mission. Not that I have to, I want to. It gave me life back again, brother. It's allowed me to breathe. It's allowed me to feel lighter. I've lost 50 pounds since that ceremony because I've been able to just do better.
Good.
It kickstarted with the dieta where we had to eat healthy and clean,
Mm-hmm.
but it just continued on. So the Aya mission, there's so many great resources out here in Arizona, as well as no matter where you're at, there's so many organizations. So just get connected. Stop beating on your chest and being too prideful to ask for help. Seek the help, get the help. Ask your buddy and friends how they're doing. How can I help you, baby? I love you.
Look at that. Practicing it in real time, folks. This is what real leaders do.
Yeah. And I appreciate you all just suffering through this with me, allowing my daughter to join us interchangeably or intermittently throughout the podcast. I appreciate your patience. I'm sure it probably wasn't the most ideal situation, but I still had a great talk with you.
I can name a million. I don't even want to say that I can name worse situations because I don't even think this is a bad situation. This is another. I really do think this is a way of practicing what you're preaching, is we're seeing the authentic side of you. We're seeing how you're interacting, literally with your family.
Yeah, dude, I love being able to show that. And before I would be like, man, this makes me look unprofessional, XYZ. But let's be honest, in today's world, I could get a job to be able to pay for babysitting, but now I'm spending 8+ hours a day away from my kids just to pay someone else to raise them when I could just raise them myself.
I agree. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I think we have, yeah. So you gave a lot of good stuff, but is there anything you want to tell people who are still in the military right now?
I just want to remind you that you're not alone. No matter what you're going through, you will get through it. And don't be too prideful like I was when I got out, expecting to be able to handle it on my own. Make sure you find a passion, a calling. Even before you get out, find a passion and a calling before you need one. Also, set yourself up, man. The military is not the end-all be-all. So find a side hustle or job while you're in the military. It's the best time to become an entrepreneur because you have a guaranteed paycheck and insurance and everything like that. So you want to become a realtor, you want to start investing, you want to become an artist, a content creator, start it. Don't care about what other people say about you, because at the end of the day, it's going to be you and you're going to be alone with it. Also, dude, take the fucking picture. You're going to want it once you're out, whether it be the first couple of years or 10 years later. Take all the pictures. Be the one that's taking the military pictures, the moto pictures, and all that. Because you asked me for pictures of my military experience, and I sent you probably half of them, and that was like, what, I sent you 5?
Yeah, about 5.
Yeah. So take the picture.
Are you really a Marine if you don't have a moto pic? You know what I mean? It's like one of those.
Yeah.
But Josh, JMach, however you wish to be called, solid episode, great advice. I can't thank you enough. And with that, that was terribly uncoordinated. My God.
And he claims to be a Marine. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah,
Where are my crayons at?
That's a great question. We got books. I mean, reading for Marines like that. Do we have? Well, wait a minute. I mean, do you have crayons for your daughter? I mean, is there?
Excuse me. I'm the guest here. Where's your hospitality?
That's a great question.
I'm just
I can
kidding.
give you that coffee. I mean, maybe if there's
that I
something in
brought here.
well, I can claim that I brought.
All right, dude. No, I appreciate it. Thanks for spending your time with me driving out here.
Yep.
Just for little old me. I genuinely appreciate it, brother.
I love to do in-person episodes. So much better than not that I don't mind doing Zoom. Like,
no, but you can
laptop
feel the
episodes.
person's energy. You can bounce off them. It's more comfortable.
yes.
I get less distracted with an in-person interview than staring at a camera the whole time. Because to be honest, I'm not staring at the camera. I'm staring at the screen. So I'm looking at their face, but the camera's looking at my forehead.
Yeah.
And it's a wrinkly one.
Yeah. Mine's huge. Have you seen this one? My God. Please tell me you noticed the shape of my head when you saw me.
Just a handsome young man.
Thank you. That brightens, lifts the morale a little bit, lifts the mood, right? You know I look like Hey Arnold. Don't deny it.
Hey Arnold.
I should, if they ever have a live action one, I should audition for it.
Or you should just, that's your side hustle now. Go be Hey Arnold on the street. And you can act out. That's a new segment for you. You can go act out different things of being Hey Arnold. You could be a depressed veteran on the corner. You could be
Hey Arnold with a sign.
a thriving and hell yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Semper fucking fi.
Yes, Semper Fi.
Pleasure, brother.